Joining me now on Skype is Jeremy Dys, Special Counsel for Litigation and Communications at First Liberty Institute. Jeremy, welcome back to the show. Good to see you.
Thanks so much for having me.
So let's talk more about this case in Virginia. Authorities allege the church violated the state's ban on gatherings of more than 10 people during a Palm Sunday service. The church's pastor received a criminal citation even though social distancing and other recommended protocols took place. Do you think the Commonwealth went too far? And what should be the balance, do you think, between religious freedom and public health?
Look, this is a debate and a discussion we've been having now for 8 weeks or so about how far must churches submit to the governing authorities when we're trying to freely exercise our religious beliefs under our Constitution. And I think it's right and appropriate for us to rely upon our elected officials to give us guidance and recommendations based upon what's good for the public health at that time. But those restrictions, as they put them on us, need to be temporary. And I think it's okay to have temporary restrictions in terms of large gatherings as long as they are temporary and evenly applied. But I think both of those are beginning to wear thin. They are no longer temporary as such, as they're becoming much more permanent in feel, but they're also not being exactly evenly applied right now. For instance, can you go to Walmart or Target or Home Depot with certain safety precautions in place, but not to church? That doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. And I think a lot of Americans are waking up to that reality and asking, how much longer is this going to go on?
Yeah, I know the Justice Department also sided with the Mississippi Church after its congregants were cited by local police for attending a drive-in service. Let's talk about that and the message that you think this kind of federal support sends.
Oh, it's enormous when the United States government weighs in on your side, as it did with our case in Greenville, Mississippi there, where the police showed up to an African-American congregation and surrounded them effectively while they're trying to engage in drive-in church service, sealed inside their vehicles here. Look, what the Attorney General has done very well to do in this situation is to remind the country that there is no exception for a pandemic within the Constitution. It still applies, and the First Amendment has not submitted a doctor's note and gone home on sick leave. It still applies today, and that's really important for us to remember that even in these times of national pandemic and difficulty, it's comforting to know that our Constitution still limits the effects of government and still restrains too much authority being used by those who seek to exert more and more authority over top of the people.
You know, Jeremy, we hear a lot these days about what is and what isn't an essential business or service. Do you think local governments miss the mark here by not deeming churches and other religious institutions essential?
Look, I think churches all over this country are eager to provide the care and the comfort and the calm that they so uniquely provide, and frankly, removing that burden from the burden of governing here. And our local officials would do well to remember that they're here to help. The religious community is here to assist in this time of need. What's happening now, I'm afraid, is that these restrictions are going on just a little too long. And so, for instance, last week we sent a letter to the governor of Illinois informing him that our client, Northwest Bible Baptist Church, is going to be resuming in-person services, and they're going to be doing that by enacting a number of safety procedures as they do so. Look, if we can social distance at the local Walmart, we can certainly social distance at the local church as well. We need to remember that religious exercise involves much more than just remaining in a virtual environment. There are certain things that simply cannot be done in a virtual environment, like baptism or communion and things like that. It's essential that we allow our religious communities to get back together once again in a safe and in a prudent manner, but welcoming them back to the reality that we need them in this community.
Jeremy, you mentioned Northwest Bible Baptist Church planning on reopening and resuming their services. Are you hopeful that's going to be able to happen for them?
I am. Look, and on May 17th, they, along with about 50 different churches around the state, are planning on resuming their services in person. And look, they articulated a list about a page and a half long of a variety of safety and health precautions that they intend to take that are more restrictive, by the way, than what the CDC even requires of them. Look, they figured it out. They know that they have to do safety procedures. They know they have to be careful in how they go about doing this. They want to be careful and loving towards their neighbor as they go about doing this. But they know that they have to be able to meet back in person. This is something that is near and dear to their hearts because it's required of their faith. And that's something for the state to recognize once again, that this is not some sort of freedom to worship where we can just simply stay inside of a virtual environment. Free exercise of religion means that we can go out beyond the internet, beyond the four walls of our house, and take our faith into the public square, using, of course, wisdom and guidance by the government, but certainly acting in a way that is safe and healthy. If we can do it at Walmart, certainly we can be able to do it at our churches as well.
Well, Jeremy, thank you so much for your insight. We really appreciate it. Jeremy Dys, Special Counsel for Litigation and Communications at First Liberty Institute. Thanks again, Jeremy.
Thank you.